Can I hear the loon again, too? Okay. I want to hear the loony loon! The funny, funny loon! Ah, oh! Oh! What the hell is this?
Welcome to SonarFeed. Eclipse the Loons.
The Loony Loon.
The Loon. It's episode 214. We're sitting here at the Berliner Pub. I am Tom Biro, a.k.a. Bougie Hooli. To my right,
Mark Nesteroff, a.k.a. SSFC Fody 13. Across from me.
with a job.
With a job.
With a new job. I had a job.
Across from you.
I'll start. I'll introduce myself. I'm Adam Weigel, and I want to introduce everybody else out there, a.k.a. Weigel on the Twitters, to our big Sounders fan.
So, Dave and Ugo unfortunately couldn't be here tonight, so we enlisted a big Sounders fan to come on the show. And not only is Big Sounders fan a Big Sounders fan, which is great, but Big Sounders fan keeps us cool while we're here on the show. So there's that added.
There is that.
Yes.
It's great. Big Sounders fan does not say a lot.
No. It can get loud sometimes, though.
Sort of an introvert, you know.
Yeah, a bit of an introvert, I would agree. So anyway, so welcome to episode 214, Eclipse the Loons, which is something that happened with a dagger yet again on Sunday evening. Do you remember that game?
Do you remember?
Yes?
Yeah, we were at it.
Mark?
We were at the game, I think, maybe.
Physically,
do you
I was.
I was there. Yes, I remember
Physically,
the game.
We had victory hot dogs.
Yes, we
It
did.
was tremendous.
We did.
You were drunk enough that you should have had a victory hot dog.
Yes, you needed.
Or anything,
Yeah.
yes.
You needed meat and
Anything, actually. It would have been really good life choice.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Sounders, I wouldn't say handily defeated.
No.
By any means. Minnesota United
No.
on Sunday. It was an interesting game. I think we talked a little bit before the show. And in fact, yesterday I was talking with Dylan and a couple of other people at Fuel, and the trap word came up, and we were like, yeah, but we're not saying that publicly. We're just going to walk away, pretend that the game's just going to be a victory, and we'll all be good. And it did actually work out a little bit that way. There was some defensive awkwardness, for lack of a better way to put it. Minnesota on the board first.
yes.
Which is interesting. They had a couple of moments of pretty solid play. But, a goal from Dad Marshall. What a guy.
Oh, not you.
No. What? Stop talking.
No. We want we want Mark to talk during this episode. We need him to.
When's that? Anyway. He either just goes dark for like 25 minutes or he talks like for 10.
Should I take his phone now?
I mean, probably. He's watching the
have-
show, though.
I am
Oh,
on
okay.
the show.
He's not like
Okay.
texting or just like doing anything else random yet. There's
Yet.
still time, though.
Right.
So got a goal from Chad Marshall, and then Dempsey 90+4 penalty on a
Brutal.
on a handball in the box. Yeah, so that happened. I think we were all like, all right, well, we're going to get a point, and that's disappointing because you wanted another victory, and so on and so on and so on. And then that happened, and the place went
boy.
crazy.
We all went mental.
We went.
It was pretty nuts.
Yeah.
So that was a pretty cool Sunday, to say the least.
It was quite all right.
So what, other than the match, which we'll dig in a little bit on, Mark may or may not remember some of it. Adam, I think, remembers most of it.
I do.
I remember most of it.
Yes.
And there were some amusing things that happened in the stadium off the field as well that we can get into. Do you want to show everybody what you got this week?
Yes.
A little
Hardware.
I'll zoom in on that.
That was an amazing technical move, right?
It was.
Yeah.
Yes.
How Hire a gaffer.
Hire any of us?
Is that in the budget?
No. We are going to have a jib. We're going to have a jib camera next week. Just borrow the one from CenturyLink.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nobody uses it during the week.
Get right on that.
I will.
I'm sure that they'll fit that.
I've
in
got
here.
contacts.
Probably not, actually. Anywho, Eileen wants to know, was the line really long?
So if you came straight down from the section and stood in the one single line, it was super long.
The back, kind of that back.
Yeah, but if you went around by where the entrance is to the locker rooms, they had like 6 different lines.
Oh, did they?
And there was only like 15 people.
See, it was
in
opposite.
each line. Yeah,
It was opposite for me when because I got into the stadium pretty early.
yeah.
And when I went down, all of those lines were really long, and there was like 10 people in that line so I got in there and just went right through.
It was just
But
funny.
that was
I was
really
sitting in
early.
the section and I saw Big Dave's ring and I was like, "Yeah, I need to go
Yeah.
do that."
Yeah.
And you did.
And
yeah,
I did.
I was.
So that was actually 15, 20 minutes that I didn't drink yesterday.
You weren't drinking for that chunk of time.
You made it.
Right.
You made it.
That's
Yeah.
actually why I survived.
Yeah.
Well, you are lucky that you did not start at Bottomless Mimosa Brunch, where I expected to see you.
Yeah, instead I had.
Do you need a beer?
Yes, please. Instead I
ordering
had Bloody
beers.
Marys with JT.
Am I allowed?
How'd that go?
Well, it was great.
Okay. So,
By the way, Hudson, down right on the edge of Georgetown,
yeah.
if you order a Bloody Mary, apparently you get a little sidecar of beer. It was Miller Lite.
We like
though.
that.
It was
Yeah.
Miller Lite.
That's a
so
good-
We don't like that.
That's a good play.
Yeah, it was interesting. It was kind of a grimy place, but good food.
So, so what else is going on? Anything else happen over the weekend, over the last week, since we last all were hanging out here? Adam?
Apparently, I'm really loud, so I'll adjust myself.
I mean, our biggest fan gave up.
Yeah, our biggest fan. It died. It was too noisy.
He gave
so
up.
I shut him up.
He did not get his full 90
No.
in.
So, I'm a 37-year-old man who is now enrolled in a parkour class.
Oh, nice.
There's a parkour place.
So I'm really,
Please stretch.
yeah,
Yeah.
I have no idea what it's going to be like other than me just kind of flopping around on the ground like, hey, guys.
Is it down in Tacoma?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's, yeah. So
There's a
my wife and I are
place
doing,
On
signed
like
up together.
Airport Way
yeah.
up here.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I went
it
by
is.
it the other day, and I went to get a Reach Now or something.
Right.
And I was like, "What? Wait, there's a parkour business?"
Yeah, yeah. This is just a gym that has multiple types of classes.
Okay.
And
Might be the same kind of thing.
Yeah, probably.
Interesting.
And it'll be interesting to see. The one thing that my biggest goal out of being in a class like this is to not become one of those guys that's in a class like this.
Got it.
And tweet about it and Facebook about it. So if you see me do that, just block me.
So it's like you don't want it to be like you're vegan or a CrossFitter.
Or a CrossFitter, right.
Okay.
Right. The opposite of Fight Club.
What if you were a vegan CrossFitter who also
parkour.
did parkour? Is it
I-
okay? Is it acceptable to talk about it then?
Yes.
Okay.
Cancels everything out.
Cool. S2 had a
yes.
victory.
They did.
They did an okay job of redoing the timber
Portland. Oh, yes.
celebration.
I saw that.
They
Yeah,
played
they-
Saturday, right?
Yeah, they
Yeah.
did the.
I think it was Saturday.
They
Friday?
did.
Saturday?
What's his name?
Was it earlier? Can't keep track. Needless to say, they continue to beat Portland. Never go full Fody. It's true. It was pointed out that Eileen was full Fody last week, which you may or may not know what that means, viewing audience. Needless
Right.
to say, Fody was pretty full Fody yesterday.
I kept my pants on.
Yes.
That I know of.
That I know of.
You're stating that you did. It doesn't mean it actually
Oh.
happened.
Shit.
Like we don't have third party.
Also-
So I
independent-
should state it as a question.
Back to the question of how much of last night do you remember?
Yeah,
up until Flat Stick.
Okay.
which was after Temple.
Yeah.
Which was after the game.
Which was after Temple Fuel Merchants.
So you had a trifecta, and then because you're Mark, you
And-
had to go to Flat Stick.
Yeah, I got dragged there.
Mark,
I was waving the white flag.
Mark
It's
has
too hot for headphones. Let me
Mark
take this
has
off.
gotten so many cards full of beer, like the loyalty program at Flatstick. It's 38 beers per card, right?
33.
33, excuse
33
me.
beers.
33 beers per card.
Right.
Mark's on
Why
his
is it-
10th.
Why is it 33 beers per card?
It's just like
it
a loyalty
doesn't
card.
go any further.
He literally can't get any more cards. Like, they don't give you any more. So
Sad,
it's
really.
like having elite status on the airline, and then they're just like, nope, that's as far as you can go.
But I always have my.
Wow.
You just
Koozie.
carry that around with you?
It was still in my shorts.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, you didn't newly put that in there. It was still in your shorts. We should just be happy that you probably changed in between then and now.
Yeah, I even showered.
The under things.
Cool.
I even did laundry today.
When did you... Who... Did they replace you with someone else?
No. I don't
Have
think
you been
so.
body snatched?
Did you do your own laundry?
Yeah. Well, I sure as shit did do my roommates.
Hey, how was that?
I mean, you
concert?
could have.
It was really good.
Yeah, so while
Oh,
we're
yeah.
talking about things that
So
happened...
Saturday was epic. Jimmy Eat World, Incubus, White River Amphitheater.
Right.
Hadn't been there before. Not a bad venue. Ingress, egress is terrible.
It's been a long time. I saw Beck and the Black Eyed Peas
Yeah.
there back in like 2003.
Yeah, I don't know
one or
how I never
two.
made it there. But so pulling in, we saw that they had the parking lot and all that.
Right.
And I saw a few cars parked on this side access road, and I was like, that'd be a lot easier to get out. So parked there.
And it doesn't sound like it ended well.
Oh, it ended well.
Okay,
the,
good.
The parking guy comes over and he goes, "You're not supposed to park here unless you're an employee, but since you already have your chairs out, I'm not going to make you move."
Well done.
I was like,
Nice. So he's like, I fulfilled my duty of telling them not to do it.
yeah. And then he said, if
My hands are
anybody
tied.
asks you, you're employees.
Just go with it.
So apparently now I work for Live Nation,
Nice.
I'm sorry.
right?
Yeah.
That actually makes me
You probably
sick.
get to see some cool shows, though.
That's true.
So that's a thing.
The concert was great.
Yeah.
There was one, Brad Evans there.
We heard.
He did,
Did he
not
ever bring you?
He did not bring up the bottle of rosé as I requested, and
Brad, if you're watching,
I'm-
always bring rosé.
I'm hurt.
Brad, if you're watching, Mark should have brought you rosé. Could you get to where Brad was?
No, because he had fancy seats, and then he was on the side of the stage.
Okay.
So he basically had status like I had last weekend
Got it.
at my concert.
Got it. Okay. So that was Saturday.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I, on Saturday morning, got a text from a friend of mine. He's like, hey, it's, Washington Wine Gala weekend, blah, 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 blah. All these other things are going on. What are you up to? And I was like, I don't know. I'm just hanging out. There's some things this afternoon. I might go do them. I don't know. Otherwise, I have no plans. And he's like, cool. Well, Rick Bayless, Chef Rick Bayless of Chicago, many restaurants, who makes fantastic Mexican food, has been honored by organizations in Mexico for making amazing Mexican food. Was doing an event in Georgetown at Bar Ciudad. And it was a Modelo event, and my friend is a writer. He's like, oh, you should come with. So I was like, all right. So we hopped a ride down there, stroll in, like, before the event starts. Like, it's fun to walk past the line and just be like, I'm going inside. Cool, later. Walked in, got a beer, and then got to chat with Chef for, like, 20 minutes
Yeah.
straight,
Oh,
like, right
nice.
away. So we walk in, and we're like, hi. And then we talked about Pike Place Market and just, like, cool stuff, but, like, had a kind of casual conversation.
That's great.
Yeah, it was cool. I mean, he just wanted to talk about peppers and fish and just random stuff about Seattle, and it was pretty interesting. Yeah, super nice guy. Took a selfie, as one does.
Yes.
Which was funny
You're
because
such a millennial.
I'm a Gen Zennial.
A Gen Zennial. That's with an X, right?
Stop. Just stop. I'm going to punch you in the face. Off camera, probably. Anyway, so hung out there for a while and had, a couple drinks and just chilled in the sun, and then decided we should probably go indoors at some point. And, yeah, hung around a little bit down in Georgetown, and then came home and had a chill night. And then yesterday, I, like, double brunched, basically. I went to the Swinery with Jake in West Seattle.
Yes.
And I had a really interesting banh mi that's basically made with like pork belly.
Oh.
And it was wonderful. And then I had some poke and the malasadas at Maono, along with a number of bottomless mimosa refills.
That sounds
Before
way
the game,
more exciting
right.
than my uncle's
Yeah.
birthday party in Snohomish that I had to.
And then went to Fuel and chilled a
Right.
bit. Met some Sounders
Same.
legends. So we actually were hoping to have a couple of the guys on tonight. They had some other events going on. There were 5 of them. A number of them got golden scarves yesterday. But they were in town for a couple of different things this weekend. Some of them haven't been here in 20-plus years
Seriously?
back in
Wow.
Seattle. So it was pretty neat to just like shoot the breeze with them outside on the patio at Fuel and hear them talk about having played at Memorial in 1974.
When the
and,
stadium was like
this-
20 years old.
And the city is just a different place, and they're familiar with Pioneer Square, and they're like, it's just a totally different place overall. And it's interesting to talk to people who literally haven't been in a place for 20 years, They're like, wow, this is completely different.
Yeah.
It's
So they
not
haven't
like
even come back to visit.
a couple of them hadn't,
okay.
or at least not downtown.
Right.
They may have been in the region or something, but
Yeah.
it doesn't sound like they've gone to any games or really anything like that.
Wow.
So, but it was just cool to talk about life stuff like beyond,
Yeah.
on the field Sounders and talk about supporters and what it's like living elsewhere. And again, the guys love soccer and they talk about sort of their clubs that they like growing up and things like that, and hearing them talk about, going to the pub in London or wherever was pretty interesting. So hopefully we'll get a chance to have a few of those guys on another time.
Yeah, that would be really interesting.
Yeah, they were definitely up for it. They just, and they had been doing something. They were up in a box with Frank. Actually, Frank McDonald had organized this event, and Molly. And a few other folks that we all know from Pub League and other places. We're all in the luxury box getting stuff signed and having a good time. So,
awesome.
So pretty cool weekend. Good Sounders weekend, obviously. And then we were all on the path to totality. So Ugo left town Friday, I think.
Yeah.
Where did he
left
go?
town Friday down to Oregon.
Yeah.
Woodburn.
Yeah, so he met some of our frenemies from
Yes.
down in Portland, some of which you'll know from donating Treasonberry Jam to FIFA tournament and such. Anyway, so he went down there over the weekend and chilled out a bit and then went and did the Eclipse thing this morning. So if you follow Ugo on Snapchat, there was some cool stuff. He had some fun things he posted on the Twitters.
Right.
He seemed like he was having a really good time. And
Yeah.
if you go to his Twitter, Me Vida Seattle, he's got one little video clip he posted with the audio of them talking in the background. And it gets to the point of like totality. And he's like, oh my God, or whatever it is. And it's just like the most classic Ugo thing. But like, it's just a video of darkness with a little light dot. And Ugo is like having a fit in the background, which was pretty interesting. So I was in Tacoma. You were in Tacoma.
Yep.
You were up here
Kirkland.
today, Kirkland. So you could probably do this for the rest of the show. Just randomly throw it in. I had no idea that it was even coming in. Well done.
I've been waiting for you to say
well
Eclipse.
played, sir. Every time we say Eclipse, the moon is going to come by or something. Don't say it again.
Don't say it again, sir.
This is going to be like you can't do that on television. Slime is going to get
Yes.
dumped on you. We should do that from now on. Anytime anyone uses the word eclipse ever on the show, we just run that in.
That always at hand.
Anyway, so we all stepped out of the office close to 10, when it was getting to the furthest point. And one of our colleagues had like the homemade like pinhole
Yes.
kind of box, which
Yeah.
was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So we all went and checked that out, and it was interesting because you definitely noticed the birds
Yeah.
were weird. They were just dead quiet. And like for as many people who were out on the street, like it was just people outside standing around going, this is weird. I don't know what I'm doing right now, but I guess we're all having a shared experience here. It got cold Like it probably went down
Yeah.
5-10
That was
degrees
strange.
in
It
Tacoma.
It did, yeah.
It felt
I
like you
saw-
were in the shade
Yes.
all the time.
Yeah. I saw the Seattle, Washington, or the Seattle Weather Twitter account tweeted that it dropped 5 or 6 degrees. I can't remember what it was at SeaTac during the.
Wow. Yeah, I think I saw that 5
Yeah.
or 6. Yeah. Yeah, that was pretty neat. Then the birds kind of waking back up or chirping
Right.
and, all coming out a little bit later was pretty interesting. Yeah, I think for some reason I thought it was going to be darker.
Yeah, I don't know what it was like during. It would be interesting to hear what it was like when you were, when you had 100%
Yeah.
coverage.
I mean, some of the
But,
footage
yeah.
I've seen is pretty weird.
Right.
Like, it's dark.
Yeah, it was. It was
yeah.
interesting to me walking from. We were walking in the street because that's the only clear view of the sun from at my house, and going from the street, like my eyes just adjusted and it felt normal. But then I walked into the shade, and it was just weird because all of the bits where the sun peeks through the trees
Yeah.
was gone.
Yeah.
And it was
It was
really eerie.
it was
And
more of a
there
like
were
it was just
few,
dimmer.
There were a few sensors, light sensors that popped on
Oh yeah,
in
okay.
the neighborhood.
We saw a couple of things like that.
Yeah.
Where that was just randomly happening in places. It was interesting. I think it got a lot of hype, to say the least.
Yeah.
But it seems like the people that were down in it thought it was pretty amazing.
You're doing a really good job of not saying what it is.
I am. It's like I've done this before. I have a couple of another work colleague who's down in Oregon, and then some other friends are out in Nashville,
Right.
and points out that way. And they all had. They sounded like the people. If you listen to like NPR today, they had a lot of interviews with people like at the moment, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we're just hanging out." And then you hear people are like, "Oh my, what is that?" And
Right.
people are just. They've had no concept of what to expect. And then it's literally dark in the middle of the day, and there's this weird disc thing hanging out in the sky.
in front of the moon.
Yeah, it
In front
was
of the sun.
it was pretty interesting. So 2024, I think
that
is
the
the
next
next
one?
time it touches the U.S.
Yeah, Texas, isn't it?
Is that what it is?
The next,
Well, because
but the
sometimes
next,
it sort of swoops
yeah,
through.
The
Yeah.
next time it does a coast to coast, I believe is 45.
Cool.
And it starts further south. So it'll start like in California and go to like Miami.
I think the thing that we had noticed, I found a stat the other day. It's like there are 12 million people that live along
yeah,
the
I
path,
read that too.
and 4 million people went into the path to visit. So, like, the populations of this 12 million swath
Right.
went up by 25%.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Like,
And-
think about if 25% more people just showed up
up
in
in
your
s-
town
in-
all the time for a
and-
weekend.
In Seattle or Tacoma. Or,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
It's just a weird
That's a
thing to
lot.
kind of think about.
especially if then you scale it down to the towns that, like Woodburn is a town of a few thousand,
Yeah.
few.
Well, what about
yeah.
those towns where there's like 18 people?
Right.
In
In the middle
Chris
of
points
nowhere.
out, you think Florida is nuts now. Seriously, Florida man. Like, Florida's out of control. So that happened.
Okay, I'm going to do it one more time for good measure.
So you're going to do the eclipse thing?
Yep.
Okay. Cool. So that happened today. Anything else interesting from the week that was before we get back into talking about the game?
Nah.
Going twice. Cool. So Sunday, Ozzy back.
Yeah.
A little bit of some other changes in the lineup. Rolled on in a slightly different place. No Brad. No Nagel.
You know what my first indication that Brad probably wasn't going to play
It was when you saw him
When
at
you
the
was
saw
when I
concert
saw him at the concert.
Drinking.
drinking rosé.
Yeah. Were you really disappointed that he didn't bring you wine?
No.
Did you
Was-
expect him to bring you wine?
It was more, he was supposed to meet up with Sean Wise and I in Mexico City to see Incubus, and obviously he had to fly back. So this time I was like, hey, dude. But no.
Dave wants to know if there's someone actually bigger than he is.
Tell him to watch SonarFeed.
Yeah. Apparently he's missing out right now. Anyway. Emily also asked, is it surprising how big they are or how much they like the Sounders? You tell us, Emily. What do you think?
Emily, they've been in ECS for 8 years.
Oh, shit. She is going to get in her car, drive down here, and
stab me
beat the shit out of you.
With the big fan.
Seriously. Like that fan, that what?
Yes.
Seriously.
None of
we
us
would
will stop.
stream that shit and put up a
Sorry,
Patreon
Emily.
and make a bunch of money to see you
And then a GoFundMe for your
get
hospital bills.
whomped on by the biggest Sounders fan.
I'm
Fair
sure we
enough.
could get a bigger Sounders fan.
Fair enough.
Probably. Anyway.
Side story.
Yes.
Also, kind of following that whole thing. For those who don't know, sometimes people are dicks and like to say, "Don't you know how long I've been in the section?" Blah 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 blah. I brought noobs yesterday to the game,
As one does.
and they jumped right in, and it was great. But my poor buddy, on one song, totally fucked up the lyric, and somebody turned around and sort of scolded him.
Whoa.
Then what happened?
And then I sort of swooped in, and I don't know if I said words.
Because you don't remember.
Or I just mumbled.
Like a noise came out of your mouth.
Yeah. But it was essentially, I was like, look, they're new. I fuck up the lyrics.
Yeah.
It's okay.
I
And
tend to
it was
fuck
a
up the
good it was a
timing.
good learning moment, because then everybody realized, they're like, oh, hey,
Yeah.
maybe we should build up, not break down.
Weird how that works.
Yeah.
I brought a noob too, and when we were doing the call and repeat, he got so like wrapped up in it that he started doing both parts. The Seattle
Yeah,
Sounders, and I was like, no, you just do Seattle.
you just do one.
You just do Seattle.
I think it was that same song.
Yeah, he's been to a few games before, and he's right now disenfranchised with NFL. So I think we're going to see him.
Fuck the NFL.
I think we're going to see him.
I
back
think
there
there's a
couple
lot
times.
of disenfranchised by the
The-
NFL right now.
So Friday night, I went to the Seahawks game.
Oh, I know.
As you
Yes,
know,
Eileen, my nephew.
I made it to halftime, and I was like, I have to get out of here. Their fans are,
It was really just that you wanted to drink wine.
well, also. No, I was just like, this experience just is not fun.
Well, it's a different thing. You're never going to please everybody.
No, but in 2.5 hours, and we were only halfway through the game,
You were done.
I was done.
Well, it is what it is. I don't necessarily know if that's going to result in like soccer converts or anything.
I don't think so.
But I will say,
I don't
and
think it's gonna be
again,
a
I
noticeable
love the
spike, but I think
concept
it
of
will be.
football. Just generally speaking, I'm a big college football fan. I think live, it's my least favorite sport to go to. It's just
Yeah.
exhausting and like nothing happens.
Right.
It really is.
80% of the time. And people complain about baseball. I'm like, go to an NFL game live and
Right.
tell me that that's exciting all the time. It's not.
Like I said, I don't think it's going to be. I don't think we're going to see a noticeable spike. But
Yeah.
you're going to see. I mean, Kevin he's the kind of person who's like he loves athleticism.
Yeah.
And so I mean he's a boxer. He just has watched all of the sports growing up.
Do you have to take him to the dog park?
What the fuck? I don't. The best is Adam's literally like, I don't know how to respond to you right now.
No.
I mean, we're gonna have him on, and he is going to beat the shit out of you with Emily. It is gonna end so poorly for you. She's gonna pummel you with a fan, and when the fan's broken, he is just gonna like punch your face over and over again.
But the whole time, like he kept turning to me, and outside of his comments about how great being in GA was and being part of that, he kept turning to me and be like, "Oh man," like commenting on the skill, the athleticism, the like just even though not everybody was playing great, like
Yeah.
he was just amazed by it. I mean, he had seen a few games, but So I think, like I said, I don't think you're going to see a spike, but I think you're going to see some people start to trickle in
or
slowly.
do other stuff. And I don't know
Right.
if it's to soccer or to just other
Yeah.
things.
I don't.
Yeah,
I think NFL's on its way.
I think
It
aside
feels
from
weird. Like it does,
does.
feel, and I'm not just saying that's like a biased
No.
non-NFL lover, it feels different than I remember the initial discussions about concussions and CTE
Right.
and other stuff where I remember talking to people and just saying, like, there's going to be a point where this breaks, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, no, it's too big. And I'm like, it's big. And they own
that doesn't
so
ma-
much,
yeah.
but they have a little bit of that, Roman gladiator kind of thing going for
Right,
them
right.
From a mainstream perspective. I mean, the same way MMA has blown boxing away.
Completely away.
But
yeah.
like those sports are massive. So it's not like, I mean, for every 20,000 people that walked away from Seahawks season tickets, there's 20,000 more
Yeah.
that will buy
Right,
those tickets.
right.
So it's not like I think we're going to see that overnight change.
It's not going to be a reverse hockey stick. It's going to be a
It
long
is crazy
tail.
though. So like the
Yeah.
tickets that I won, they were $70 for upper 300 level for a preseason game.
$70 for a upper 300 level.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So they're
Wow.
what, like $100-something tickets?
Oh,
probably?
easily. Yeah.
at least. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I-
and I used to
that's-
have when I had season tickets, we were up in the 300 level and they were like 60, and it got to the point where I was paying $1,000 for 8 games, and that was more than I was paying for
Right.
2 seats.
This would be a really interesting conversation to have with Hugo.
Yeah, it would.
Yeah.
I would
'Cause
actually.
he's- 'cause he
we
still
should
has his
table. We
season
should table the
tickets.
conversation.
We should.
to have with Hugo.
We were going to recruit Max.
Who?
Max, do you want to join
Who?
the fun?
Max, join us.
Can we borrow
Let me
you
let me
for a
move
while?
the
We're
Sounders.
going to move the biggest fan.
Sounders fan out of the way.
I'd say Secret Service would come tackle you, but they can't afford to.
They
What?
ran out of money.
I mean, the fan was an impromptu decision.
Max, what's your Twitter name?
Max Aquino photo.
That is a
Spell it
crazy
for the
one.
friends at home.
MaxAquino PHOTO.
Why do you have to have such a weird last name?
I don't know.
Also, you spelled it for me while I was writing it, so I could put it up there now.
Cool.
Oh, but let's get you in here.
Isn't it great having a real producer?
It's so weird.
And
You totally know how to do
There
that.
you are. There's your microphone. Go ahead and grab it.
All right.
Cool. Welcome,
Ignorance
Max.
is bliss.
Friend of the show, multiple-time guest, Max Aquino. Everybody, did we get Max
Nice.
on camera?
You don't need to get
We're
me
good.
on camera. It's
Yep,
Salute.
we're good.
It's been a while since I've seen you.
I know. It's been at least, 5, 6, 7 months?
Hours?
Hours? Something like
Has
that.
it been that long?
Lean in here, Max.
All right. What are we talking about here?
You got to lean in.
So we're gonna talk a little bit about-
Get close to Adam.
We're-
Okay,
There you
lean
go.
in there.
We're going to talk a little bit about yesterday.
go.
He's
All
not
right.
just a pretty
So
face.
we kind
I
of
am.
briefly recap the game. We were just getting into the fact that we derailed about Brad.
My
We
beer
were
got
talking about
taken
how,
away. Can I have my beer
Brad
back?
was not in the lineup, and Mark was like, "I knew Brad would not be in the lineup when I saw him at a concert at White River Amphitheater on Saturday." So we had just started talking about who played, who didn't, and kind of how yesterday's game went down. And the initial convo earlier in the show wasn't quite the dominating performance that the first match against Minnesota went
Okay.
a few weeks ago. But obviously the Sounders come away victorious. You saw your consistent Stephen Fry. You saw the random defending. I think there were some lineup changes that may or may not have had to do with that, including like where Roldan was playing on the field.
Right, and I had some thoughts on that as well. Like for example, number one, we seem to be setting up for a counterattack style instead of a controlling possession style. That's putting Morris up top. It's using Roldan on the wing. We were trying to build speed off of there, but then we started playing that. I'm not going to call it slow and plodding, but it's that slow plodding, controlling, look for a little seam here and there. And that's where, when we shifted and had Will Bruin up top, is how we should have really started. Having a holding forward up top that can just keep people off the ball and be a big presence in the box.
Well, it changed the game,
Yeah.
too, Bruin. I mean, it's interesting because I think now you almost have this luxury of players and figuring out the right combination or the right lineup, layout, positioning for them is going to be tricky if you're going to have a lot of these players on the field at the same time.
Right.
I do really like the Morris outside, not Morris up top thing better. But it also was something that was happening when Ozzy wasn't around, when Roldan was filling that position, and so on and so on and so on. So, is it something where you play Morris Dempsey and then you lose a Bruin, or do you want to start a Bruin with Deuce and then figure out what to do with Morris and Nico and a number of other people? I think that's the trick.
I have to say, I've been unimpressed with Nico in a lot of ways recently.
He's kind of had a not as
but take him off of corners.
Yes.
The corners I don't understand at all.
Like
Yeah.
It just that's a big issue to say the least.
right.
And you're not going to get Leardom throw-ins, which might as well be corners, every single time. So
Well, even those were off yesterday.
they were different.
Yeah.
They were.
There was
Well,
one that was all right, but
I feel like what I thought I saw was them try to do the Leardom throw-ins, and Minnesota figured it out.
they know to play it. Yeah.
And they
the league
then
knows
stopped it.
at this point.
Right.
Yeah, I mean they're all over that, but I can't say it's something where it's that Nico isn't the standout he was before, and I think unfortunately he set such a high bar for himself. Hell, that first 2 games, was it Galaxy and
Last year.
Orlando
Right.
last year? That that first game. I mean, we joked about it on the show. We watched that game, and I was in Las Vegas, and we were watching on TV. And Greg Makos had said something like, Nico's writing down the names of the players that aren't connecting with him on the through balls because he was just tossing up these beautiful balls, and no one could do anything with them. And it took until this season for the league to really catch up to Ladero. So I think some of it is that. I don't know if it's less good Ladero in every sense of that phrase.
Right.
Well,
It's-
sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Part of it is we pushed him to the outside. He's last season he occupied the space that Dempsey's in right now,
Right.
and he really shined there. And Dempsey, it's been an interesting season, especially the past few games. He'll pull magic out of somewhere that can't be mentioned on the air, but at the same time, he disappears for so much of the game. And yes, I know that he's been dropping back and putting in more of a defensive effort, which was mentioned, and that's good. But we need him to show that magic up top in the offense, and that's where a lot of it just disappeared to.
So you're saying that he gets eclipsed by the position that he's playing in?
I was fully expecting there to be one more sub. Yes, this is Eclipse Day, I guess. But I was actually expecting Dempsey to be subbed out, and for them to bring another offensive person on the wing, probably Rodriguez, give him a chance, then put Nico in the center. That's really where Nico belongs. The problem is that we have 2 players that really occupy the same space,
Right.
and it neutralized. You put Dempsey out there, he's going to look neutralized.
Right.
There's no good answer. Unless we drop to a 4-4-2 with Dempsey as a withdrawn forward, which is what he was with Martins, was when he that's where he really belongs. He doesn't really have a spot in Schmetzer's current system, which is the problem.
Yeah. Okay. It's really funny. We talked about formations there for a second. I watched a little bit of, I think it was Schalke on Saturday, and the announcers are like, I think they're playing 4-2-2-2. Wow.
Somebody just bought a drink for Mark, of all people.
Are gonna die.
Mark, because Mark needs
Do it.
more drinks all the time.
Well done.
There you go, hair to the
I mean,
dog.
Just bringing it up though, so this team was playing 4-2-2-2, basically.
Right.
Do you think the Sounders are in a spot though where they're going to probably need
you.
to alter the lineup in order to play with the players they want to have start?
It's tough. I mean, really, the 4-2-3-1's been working for us. I think we should stick with it. Part of the way that we started yesterday was Schmetzer was trying to respect the fact that Svensson belongs on the field, so he tried to put
Right.
3 defensive midfielders in there. When he pulled off Svensson, it was the right time to bring off one of the CDMs. It could have been Ozzy. It didn't have to be Svensson. He just chose Svensson for whatever reason. Svensson was pissed. I don't know if you saw it, but he came over. He stomped on the bench. He started chucking his shoes.
Didn't
he was
see it.
mad.
Yeah.
Side note on Svensson, did you see he's getting a little
A look?
a look for
Yes.
the national team for
Great.
Sweden?
He deserves it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just what we need. More
I
players
know.
on national teams that are far away.
But, I mean, really, Schmetzer realized that there was no good option.
It's only a 10-hour flight.
Oh, only a...
Anyway, sorry.
I mean, that's really where And then because he put Svensson and Ozzy, who are not fast players, on the back, that's where we kind of got burned on the counter a few times early on. And we're having Christian back there. That would have helped us a lot more, having that speed the track back and catch up once they get burned.
So, I guess the question is, if you were going to do something, would you put Svensson in for Torres and have Roldan and Ozzy just play, in that kind of destroyer CDM space? I just don't know.
Ozzy and Christian belong there. Svensson, I don't want to say belongs on the bench because he's done such a good job, but at the same time, man, I don't know where he belongs. He's our number 3 CDM. It's just and that's an embarrassment of riches. But
right, when look at who the 1 and 2 are, like that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Then moving up the field, I mean,
teams don't have one of those guys, and they have 3 that would start.
I mean, in my ideal world, we'd then have Dempsey, Lodero, and Morris on the attacking mids, and then have Will Bruin up top as a holding forward. That's really and that's a lethal lineup. But it's like that leaves somebody out, and unfortunately, that person is Svensson or Torres. But I think that Torres and Marshall, I think they're the right play. I don't think that Svensson's the long-term answer.
Yeah,
it's kind of like Brad Evans that he got pushed out. I mean, it's like it really sucks for him. But at the same time, it's just where the team is. We're late in the season. We're past the experimental stage. We're at the point where we got to win.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of conversation about Torres. And again, love him or hate him, and I think there are a lot of people who are kind of crabby with him, whether he wanted to leave or not, among other things. Those two play really well together, so I think your point there, like those two together, like that's a thing. And like hokey shit with Torres trying to play forward and doing random things aside, which I think is fun because it's just it's interesting. It's he adds some personality to the team. I don't think I'd replace him with Svensson, but I could see someone doing that, which is why.
Did you guys notice he got pushed up to forward last night, Torres?
Torres enjoys playing forward.
I know he does.
Yeah.
It's kind of like an Easter egg.
He is
He just kind of like, surprise.
That bicycle kick. That
was
worked.
Beautiful.
Oh, that bicycle kick.
Oh. Did you get pics of that?
No, it's out of focus.
Oh.
Didn't you just make it really small?
It was odd, and he was blocked. It was just a bad angle for me, and I saw it coming a mile away, and I was like, "Come on!" But sometimes my camera thinks that the blade of grass in front of him is more interesting.
Right.
It's excited. JJ suggests that he takes corners.
Torres?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't even know what the answer for corners is. Who's got the accuracy on the crosses? It's not Ladero.
Aaron Kovar.
Yeah, but do you really want Aaron Kovar to be your starting?
No.
Hey, Chase just showed up, guys.
Hey, Chase.
Chase, he just walked in.
I don't know.
Christian Tiffert? Oh.
Not Christian Tiffert.
I mean, let's go down the list. Will Bruin, no. Morris, no. Dempsey, not really. Ladero, okay, he's the current one. Ozzy, Roldan.
Roldan.
Chad?
Chad
But you want his head.
Yeah.
I could see
Same
Christian.
with Torres, though.
Yeah.
It might be worth taking a look at Christian. He's actually been
Right?
pretty accurate.
Christian, yeah.
There was
Didn't Christian take ones in?
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Gold Cup.
A couple of weeks ago, Ladero wasn't taking corners. There was somebody else taking corners. I can't remember who it was.
Was that Kovar?
And I want to say, was it? And I want to say we either got close to or scored off.
I feel like we should all frown since we're talking about Kovar.
But what
he's
about
got the most exciting goal celebrations in the world? In sarcasm.
What about What about Jones? What about Jones
I had
or
that picture at the ready.
Svensson
Him on Fox.
or
Hit the moon
Leerdam?
again.
Or like, is there somebody? Is there
I don't
really
know.
nobody who could take a corner? Like it just
I
that
don't know.
feels to me like a when you see the Dempseys on your team and like that's who's going to go take the penalties. Like that feels like this is my job. I'm Ladero. I'm taking the corners. It doesn't feel like it's a you should be taking the corners. It's that's my job and I just do it thing.
I can't think of anyone that I've like even Leerdam. It's like his crosses from the outside they're good, but they're not that accurate. It's like we still live and die by the sending it down the line and crossing into the box.
Yeah,
and it eventually works.
Eileen's got a good point.
Oh, what you got?
Leerdam.
Could be.
Taking corners?
Yeah.
Could be.
Well, Dave points out, Roldan's started to take frees and corners from the left.
Okay.
The free kicks, I'm not at all
Hey,
surprised
Dave,
about
we
it.
miss you.
Yeah.
I don't.
I did.
I'm on this camera. I'm fired.
Anyway, so that is a thing. So
Yeah.
it's one of these tricky conversations though, because you're like, oh man, Ladero, that guy isn't
But who
pulling
else?
his weight, and the Sounders have dropped like 2 points in a month and a half, or 2
We're
months.
still in
like it's
number one, first place
I
in the
think-
West right now.
yes,
We still are.
40 points.
Ladero, he's gotten a lot of flack, but I don't think he still dominates the game in his own way. I mean,
I agree,
Yeah.
Mark.
and the way my metric, of course, become a photographer is who do I have a billion pictures of? Because who's holding the ball almost all the time? It's Ladero, and I noticed that this last game they were really trying to get away from the center of the corner and cross it in. They're trying 1-2s like crazy, but Minnesota sniffed it out. They did it. Let's be honest. They had a good defensive effort. We cannot fault
they
Minnesota.
The fucking bus.
They played a completely different game. Now they got to see that fully operational battle station Sounders the last time they played.
Right.
So they saw all the guns, all the different ways that they wanted to get played, and then they came to Seattle clearly looking to do something different.
Because we played pretty open in Minnesota.
It was like, oh, I'm going to get a goal too, is what was happening
But
in Minnesota.
it was a fairly open game. Like, Minnesota had a lot of good looks.
There's one photo that I absolutely love from the game. It's taken by Karis Wilson, and it shows Shuttleworth right after missing Dempsey's penalty. And I took
On
it.
his knees?
Yeah, on his
Yeah.
knees. And I took it. I made it into a little demotivational thing that I haven't posted yet. I want to get her permission first, but it says when your best time wasting just isn't enough. Because Shuttleworth he was time wasting so bad. But you know what? He played Elfath perfect. Shuttleworth, I'll give him full credit on his time wasting. He went just fast enough that he didn't even get a yellow card. He could have probably milked it for another few seconds if he wanted, but
Oh, so that was interesting.
He
Dave, sorry.
oh, go ahead. He didn't do the obvious time wasting. He did a lot of little tricks that I see. You see some goalkeepers just obviously time wasting, where they like set it down, then take 3 steps back, come forward and position it. He would just do the slow jog. The second he got the ball, he ran up, placed it on the thing, and made it look like he was going. Then he started directing traffic, so it made it look like he was trying to get it going when he really was time wasting. But I was actually kind of impressed, and Elfaf didn't even reach for a card ever. So that's a nice time wasting, just not quite good enough.
On that note, it's funny. The Philadelphia game the other day, the keeper he had somebody in the area with him. Ball's just kind of rolling. He's walking over the ball pretty
Just rolling.
slowly just
They
to go
see him
pick it up.
hating.
And the guy starts to follow him, and he did they were getting to the end of the game, and he did I'm going to fall on the ball and protect it like it's a bar of gold thing.
Yeah.
And then they still
My ball.
let up a stupid goal and ended up drawing. But he was doing I'm going to legally draw out as much time as I possibly can here, which was pretty interesting. But no, that's a great point about Shuttleworth. I mean, at the end of the day, that's a pretty brutal way to lose a game if you're Minnesota.
He even got a hand on the PK. What else could he do?
Yeah.
I honestly, there was that absolute split second where what went through my head was, shit, he got it.
Yeah.
We didn't make it. Oh, we made it! Right, like that all happened in that split second.
I didn't even see I didn't even see the where it went. I'm setting up, I'm like, okay, if Dempsey scores, he usually runs this way. I'm ready for the shot, and then so I don't even see the ball go in. My camera's on Dempsey, and then he shoots, and at first I thought he missed because he just sort of hangs his head and jogs.
Yeah.
Yes,
and then
yeah.
everyone cheers. I'm like, wait, did he get it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it must
Yeah,
have
that
he must have gone through
lower
the same
third-
process.
Ugh. What a vicious place to put that. Especially being, hand height as you're diving.
And as a
Right.
goalkeeper, I have to say I love the fact that Bobby Shuttleworth has a target on his chest.
Right?
It is so funny.
That's awesome.
I think
I
the first
approve.
time that I had seen the kits, I was like, maybe change it for the keeper. I
No,
don't know.
no.
Like,
I want the ball coming at me as a
Well,
goalkeeper.
you do, but
Get it
it's
right here, come on.
But it's kind of an awkward way to have done things.
Oh,
Speaking of awkward,
yes.
What
derail for a second. Do you have that? Okay, we'll come back to that when Adam's ready. Because because this is definitely worth discussing. So, any other big takeaways from yesterday's match, other than the fact that maybe someone else should take corners and there was some defensive moments. The possession game, I think you brought this up early tonight. There was a point sort of in the beginning-ish area of like the streak that the Sounders have been on, where it was like 65, 70, 75% possession for the bulk of the games. That has not been the case in a lot of the games since then, at least for large chunks of the matches. It feels very, very intentional. It's not like they're getting shoved out of possession. Like, it seems like they're choosing to play a different style overall. So I don't know. I don't know if I've necessarily read anything that Schmetzer's said. I'm going to guess he's discussed this particular topic, but it does feel strategic now that it's not. I mean, you brought up that there's a little bit of counterplay, but I don't know if it's we're not going to possess as much as before thing. It just feels like something's changed, and it's partially the lineup, and maybe it's just a people thing, and that's why things have changed. Although I would have expected with Ozzy back, they'd go back to something where they wanted to have 60, 70+% possession in these matches.
A couple unrelated things that I notice things just throughout games because I'm actually on the field, so I kind of hear what the players hear. I will say that last night, the ECS, especially when I never pronounce this right, Dale Caviassi.
Dale Caviassi.
Yeah. When they sang that's the loudest I'd heard that in a long time. It was amazing.
Awesome. Well, it's hard to do when you're in it. You don't know how loud it really is. So,
but that was really impressive. And then conversely, Minnesota's traveling support. It wasn't that big, but I could hear them on the field. When I was on the north end, I could hear them quite well. That was actually pretty impressed with their traveling support. I think that's going to be an asset.
Was they in the lower section?
No, they took over the upper section.
Oh.
They took
in the 300s?
In the 300s, they took over the entire where Portland normally sits.
We didn't hear a fucking thing.
Well, that's because you're ECS and you guys are loud. But
nice.
But I know.
Jinx.
But
you have to buy me a Coke.
On the field, I was, especially after they scored their first goal, I could hear them, and they were. I would say that for non-Cascadia support, that's probably the second loudest supporter group I could hear. Yeah, loudest being San Jose.
When I was there for the away match, they were genuinely nice people.
Yeah, they're great. They're
Minnesotans,
right?
I think they're going to
be
like
Canada's.
Don't you know?
I think
Canada's?
they're going to be an asset.
They're also afraid of
guys. It's the Canadas.
They're afraid of when you turn out the lights.
Wow.
It's ready whenever you guys.
Oh, go for it.
So cue that up. So Adam's going to cue up an interesting goal that happened, what was that, Friday, Saturday?
Did you see that?
I didn't.
So this own goal for DC from Colorado.
Honestly,
it's just looping right now.
Given Colorado this year, that's probably the best goal they've scored this year.
So did Colorado win 4-1, or I mean, like what? Because
what's the final score?
It's DC, so they probably still managed to lose it. But
I don't even know if I know. I'm going to look it up on the internet.
Help DC's off.
Somebody Google it.
Yeah.
The final score was 1-0.
Oh, it was 1-0.
That's a brutal way to lose, dude.
Oh,
why, Jesus? Why?
So don't do that. Tim Howard, by the way,
I'm just letting Tim Howard
not
miss
happy
it over and over again
at all.
No.
They just fired Pablo.
Which I don't understand.
Usually you fire your coach and you might have less miscues and disasters.
It wasn't Howard's fault here.
I mean, Dave's pointing at Howard was bad. I don't know. Every keeper person I've talked to is like, nope, that's on that defender.
That's this guy. That's number 33. Like he
shot it on goal.
He passed it back, and Howard was way out.
Like he zipped
he was
it.
way out of position.
He zipped it.
What?
And it was on
Howard
goal.
Way all the way up there. It was a. But I mean, so really
All right,
quickly
we're gonna
though,
come
like
back to us. That's sad. I can't watch it.
Firing him, man. I don't.
He
I don't
zipped
like it.
that back.
Oh, I'm talking about firing the coach. That makes no
firing
sense.
Pablo.
Makes no sense. He took them from a, let's be honest, a shit team to the playoffs. And yeah, they're having a rough time this year, but they're not a bad team. He's building them. You got to give them time. Like, unless you have someone waiting in the wings, that's an obvious replacement. I don't like it. I don't like it. That's just me.
Well, it's Colorado. No one cares. Well,
Fair. All right, you know
At least
what?
no one here.
That's a
So they are tied for the most. They, Minnesota, and DC are all the basement dwellers with 22 points, lowest in the league. So Minnesota, what is it, 68 goals? Is that where we figured out what it was? The Chivas USA?
Yeah, something like that.
So Minnesota's probably going to let this record go and break the Chivas goals against streak or record. And the conversation we were having last night or yesterday was, coincidentally, it looks like Toronto might actually beat the Galaxy's goals for record.
Really?
In the same year, which would be really interesting.
That would be interesting
to see something like that happen. So
screw you, LA.
What's interesting about MLS, I think, at any level or in any facet, it tends to have these really weird spikes where all of a sudden things are either way more competitive or just way more different. It's just like overnight. There are some major changes. And I think this year, not that we like to talk about the East always just being a total shit show. And for the most part, it has been.
Yes.
Last year, the East was not a total shit show.
Right.
This year, the top 3 teams are ahead of everyone in the entire West. And one of those teams is Chicago. So, like, it's just a different place right now.
I've got the East stats up right now.
Cool. So, just looking at them here, Toronto at 50 points, 10 ahead of Sounders and SKC. NYCFC and Chicago both above, and then Red Bulls only 2 points behind. It's just a completely different place.
Right,
Now,
right.
the fun part about that is they're going to beat the shit out of each other in the playoffs. So, whoever comes out of the West, you either going to get somebody who's on a full-on streak, or you might end up getting somebody who's had the crap beaten out of them to fight their way through the playoffs.
Yeah, we're at 40 points, and that would place us in 4th, and we're at the top.
Yeah. Now, mind you, there was a point where you'd look at the Supporter Shield standings, and the Sounders weren't even above the fold, and now they're in 4th.
Right.
So
who knows? There's that 1%. You see
So,
that
how
1%
about
chance?
So that happened.
By the way, Nestor, where did you get that hat?
The team store.
Really?
Yeah.
I love
This
that
year?
hat.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's an awesome hat. Can I see that really quick? See how Sounders? I gotta say, I absolutely love my new hat. It's kind of, you have a small head. I don't want it anymore.
You actually have a fat head.
Pinhead.
You have a small head.
Have you met me, Mark? Yes, I have a fat head.
I know.
I don't know
All
where
right.
that's going, but all right.
Well, we're going to move on from this love fest that's happening here about Mark's head, and let's talk about the week upcoming. So, a couple of matches.
Couple. Just,
Just a couple. I sort of chuckled because I had created a Facebook cover photo in 2013, and at the time I was like, there's not a lot of weeks in the season where you get to play Portland and Vancouver in the same week.
Oh.
I think it's happened like 3 times since then. So anyway, I posted that as a cover photo, and everybody now is all like jumping back on that. So Wednesday night, Vancouver away.
Before we get into that, can I just say...
No. Yes.
Fucking seriously, you're going to do a Cascadia tilt on a weeknight?
No comment. You mean all 3 of the Vancouver matches?
Yeah.
Were on weekdays.
The fuck?
Now, I know
Really?
one was a
I
Friday.
didn't notice that.
So it was Wednesday, Friday, Wednesday. And it's fine. It's not ideal. ECS, like we had our say on this with the team. In my opinion, they agree. They only have so many. The way we understand how the schedule works, you have so many, like, gimmies. So it's like jury
Right.
selection.
Right.
You can, like, opt in or out
Right,
of certain
right.
things.
You
Like,
can-
you get so many vetoes.
Right.
Where you're like, no, absolutely, we're not playing a noon
You can't
game
take
on
you
a
can't
Saturday
take all 5
versus
cards. You can take 3 or 4
wherever.
cards.
Yeah, like, yeah, right. You only get so many.
Right.
And I think they, as much as we don't love a lot of the schedule, I think they maybe we would have had things that were less good than
Right, that
this.
makes
Now,
sense.
of the 2 rivals, they picked the one of the two that honestly doesn't get the same level of energy from a supporter standpoint at a minimum.
It doesn't move the needle.
On both sides, I would say. Overall, so, I guess that's a good thing. But Wednesday, like the only other, was it Tuesday or Wednesday? The CCL game a couple of years ago, the year we played Vancouver 5 times because of the CCL. Don't kill a rivalry or anything. Anyway, so Wednesday night, Vancouver away. Vancouver not looking terrible right now. Super fast.
Where are they? Let's look at this. Where are they?
Dave pointed out some
sixth.
Vancouver trivia. Yeah, but you never know what you're going to get against Sounders.
Can I say that the Cascadia Cup games are like the Apple Cup, where records go out the window and you just don't know what's going to happen.
Okay.
Well, and Freddie Montero is like, I'll continue to score goals against the Sounders.
Of course.
I'm super okay with that. So Dave pointed out earlier, three MLS teams use 20 crosses a game. Seattle is one of the 3. The other, the most, is RSL, and the other is Vancouver. So you've got a lot of speed. That team is super fast. I've watched a couple of their matches. I watched the other night. They are happy to swing the ball in and just run up and down the field. I don't know what that necessarily looks like against a fully done Seattle defense. But again, as Max says, like, throw all the records out of the books.
Right.
Out the window, start from scratch on Wednesday. So people were talking about lineups in the chat. Anything people are expecting to see on Wednesday? Anything different? Do you think they play full bore? Everyone plays both matches? Like, what do we think?
The chat, what do you guys think while we talk about
no
this?
Derless.
We will watch
Too soon,
Derless. But that was the most random possible thing you could have said.
I know.
Except for something else about your head being small.
Pinhead.
Whoa.
Drop the mic. We're done.
So what you're
Nice
saying
meeting
is
y'all.
Max's head would eclipse your head?
Boom.
So anyway, anything interesting that you expect to see on Wednesday? I know the chat's
More of Tom's
picking
great
this up.
humor.
Sure. No, we have a lot of commentary from the...
I've got nothing. I'm not going to lie. I don't know Vancouver well enough this season to make a real comment other than that Freddie Montero plays for him.
I honestly, and this is no slight to Vancouver, I half the time forget they exist because there's nothing exciting that comes from that team.
Okay. Actually, here's one thing I will say. What's interesting is looking last year at the splits of of wins, losses, draws. If memory serves correctly, it's either about equivalent or slightly better on the road against Vancouver than at home against Vancouver for us. So, I mean, take that as you will, but I don't really... That kind of negates any home field advantage, but at the same time... Well, actually, no, it doesn't, but... Start talking, people. I've got no idea what the hell I'm
So let's
saying.
just get into the important part of the reason these matches are happening this week, and that's the Cascadia Cup.
I was going to say, I haven't heard a
So-
lot of chatter about
So
that.
Cascadia Cup.
Last year was pretty...
Sounders
active, but quiet this
Sounders
year.
are in second, but with 3 games played.
Sorry, guys.
Vancouver's also got 3 games played. They have 3 points. Sounders have 4. Timbers have played 4 matches. And
As long
have
as
7
Portland
points.
doesn't take it, I don't care if Vancouver has it.
I think actually a lot of people feel that way, and it's not at all surprising, really. But I think the trick here is, yes, Mark,
What are we looking at?
Mark, what are you pointing at?
they've played against both teams more. Mark's trying to figure out the math of how Portland has played more games against 2 other teams and is not understanding it. And I'm just going to
Mark,
let
it's
you
okay.
stare at it. If you want math problems done,
Ask Trump.
math problems,
He's not going to be able to...
math problems are losers.
Math problems are losers.
He's not going to be able to look at them
Hashtag.
after seeing the sun today, so,
We
Are
heard
we
that.
talking about me or Trump?
Trump, I
Yes.
guess. Well, yes, absolutely.
Yes, we are talking about you.
We're talking about both, I assume, but,
So JJ suggesting Deuce off the bench Roldan or Svensson off the bench. Jones off early for Nuhu.
The math
Forgot
makes
about
sense
that
to me
guy.
now, after I
Jones off for Nuhu?
Yeah. Well, Jones off early for Nuhu.
I don't know if I agree with that, but okay.
Well, if you are looking at 3 games in a
Oh,
row,
okay.
Straight up confused though.
You know what? I'm not. This is going to be a very unpopular opinion, but we're losing Jones after the season. Let's run him into the ground.
Seriously. Like, just play
Okay.
every minute you can.
Let's squeeze every little bit out of him.
I am very much.
This is like maxing out your credit cards right before you file for bankruptcy.
Yeah.
Is that a thing?
I don't know. I've never filed for bankruptcy.
Yes.
Adam's like,
I will-
that's
that is a
definitely
thing.
thing. Okay. All right. So let's move on from Wednesday, because it seems like none of us actually care about it. It's weird. It's like that.
No, I care. I just
It's
don't
just
have.
sort of.
It's there.
So
I honestly forgot about it.
So I guess the question I have is we've gotten these new pieces. We got Malice. We got Rodriguez. Ludo's playing every game pretty much. So my question is, how does our bench and our depth shake up? Because people complained about our depth being way too shallow, and now we've got almost too much.
Everyone in the planet is on the Sounders right now.
And then that means that, like, if you look at S2's lineups recently, it's been like the Sounders bench is now playing for S2, which means that Garth's entire plan of let's bring these academy kids into S2 means that S2 is now a giant. Everyone gets 30 minutes at best, pretty much, with how many people they have on the roster now.
Yeah.
So I guess the question is, like, where do you guys see? We made a move for Malice, so we should probably.
That seems like it was done intentionally, and it
Yeah.
wasn't a let's just go get another guy.
But does he fit the team? I mean, like, he runs as of Andy Rose. Well, Andy Rose was a box-to-box mid in a 4-4-2, which he was great at. But that's not what we play anymore. So who does he take the who does he relieve, so to speak? Where do we need a box-to-box midfielder anymore?
When someone breaks a leg and doesn't play, I don't understand where he fits into the lineup right now.
Yeah, and
I don't even understand where he fits into the 18.
He doesn't.
I can't, I've got 3 or 4 other players that I put in the 18 before I put him in the 18. So is it just we've now got sick depth and can do whatever we want?
I will say he's a lot better than a 4th-round draft pick that we would have picked up. That's all I can really say. I mean, he still doesn't fit that well. I mean, I guess toss it, and Rodriguez. I think Schmetzer was hoping that we'd be up 2-0, and then he could have put Rodriguez in around the 70th minute just to see how he meshes. But when we're trying for the win with like 5 minutes left to play, no, you're not going to throw a new piece in. I get that.
I mean, I guess the question, Rodriguez strikes me as somebody, if they're going to run and gun, that's the kind of player I think you'd have some fun with out there. I just don't.
Have you seen him at
know
practice?
what the strategy is
Have
right
you seen
now.
any of
I
his practice
haven't.
videos?
No.
He's got that weird. He's got this nice smoothness to him that, like, when he sends in a nice ball on the ground, it's decisive. It's with purpose. I think that'll fit well. At the same time, he has his sort of crazy. I wonder if this will work that Marco Papa had. So I'm really excited to see what he brings.
That's fun, though.
I think so.
You watch a guy come out on the field like that, like Papa did.
Yeah.
And still does. And you're like, he's going to take 2 people in the corner, dance for 20 seconds, and come out with the ball. And I think dust those people.
That's going to be him. I think that's what I think. That's what I'm expecting from Rodriguez. I could be wrong. I've only seen him at 2 practices now. But man, he excites me. He does excite me.
Yeah. I don't know. And maybe that's what you get in Vancouver. Maybe they try and play.
Watch out for that.
Maybe they try and play a faster-paced game, against a fast-paced team that likes to run around on shitty turf. Because it's bad.
Wait, are we talking about Vancouver or the Sounders?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. No, I don't know. I think you might see maybe something different on Wednesday, and maybe that is where you see Malice and some of these other players get, at a minimum, into the 18. Maybe this is just where they get some minutes, to be able to stack the deck on Sunday and tell Portland they can go fuck themselves.
I
it
like
seems
that
like
plan.
a good idea, right?
I like that plan.
I agree.
It wouldn't
Especially after I have to spend the whole week
so-
down
beating
there.
Portland standings wise, points wise,
So-
is
so-
more important right now.
So, lineup wise, what I'm expecting on Wednesday, I'm expecting our back four to be our back four: Leardom, Jones, Marshall, Torres. I'm expecting our CDM lineup to be Roldan and Svensson. I think Ozzy will get a break on Wednesday.
Thank you.
I could be wrong. This is just my prediction. This is what I would do if I were Schmetzer. When I'm not Schmetzer because I'm not as good of a coach, but
Duh.
You haven't gotten to that level yet.
not yet. I'm getting closer.
Like one more step, right?
I think I led Rainier to like how many 3-4 consecutive losing seasons. So I think
So really close.
I'm getting pretty darn close. And then I'm curious to see how he does. I think Dempsey will. I think Dempsey will be off the bench. Actually intrigues me on Wednesday. I love what he can bring, but man, I don't know. I don't want to be Dempsey out, and I don't want to say Dempsey's lazy because he's not. It's just
We have a good point here. What are we going to do on Saturday?
Saturday. Well, I think we're
We're
going
going to beat Portland as well.
on Saturday.
Yeah.
I would prefer to beat them on Saturday. 'cause
think
that's
about-
when-
I already know what we're talking about because I'm going to be there for 13 hours.
We're not going to be there for 30
No,
hours,
but
right?
probably like 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
If
Is there wine?
I would like current heads
I
to
don't know. Anyway.
on the men's side, I'd love for current trends to roll and have us bring that cup home, and I'd love the ladies to reverse course and actually bring it home once too. That'd be fantastic. For those wondering at home, we are talking about poker.
It was good shade. Compliments on your shade.
As good as
Wait, what are we talking about?
Totality Shade?
No, this is not like an eclipse.
Okay.
Wait, who did I throw shade on? I'm lost.
Technically, the ladies. Because
He
you
was-
said bring
look,
it
we
home
can
He was
for
being
once.
very polite.
We can go into this on why they've struggled in the previous years because I've actually do follow.
Were
these
you in
things.
charge?
No, absolutely not. I'm not that good of a coach. Come on. You think I'm as good as Anton? No. Or Anthony now? But one of the problems with the ECS women team, if we're going into this since you brought it up, is that they've suffered from not having consistent lineups throughout their seasons. And then when it comes to games like the ECSTA game, the Supporters Cup, suddenly everyone wants to play, and now they have an overstuffed lineup who have never played together before. Anthony's done a pretty good job, from what I understand, of getting a more consistent lineup out for the past couple seasons. And that wasn't Anton's fault either. It's just who showed up and who didn't. And
So it's
And-
typical rec soccer
yes, absolutely.
drama.
Yeah,
Not
well,
drama.
Not drama.
but,
It's just problems of rec soccer.
the struggles of rec soccer.
There we go.
yeah.
That's a good one. And you know what? And the Whipsaws, which is the ECS, not the ECS, the TA women's team, they're damn good. They are damn good. They've got they have a couple former college players that show up every year, and at the same time, they've got a lot of women that are more experienced players that don't have the physical side anymore, but have the touch to send in crosses to the. It's ringer ball,
Right.
and they're good at ringer ball.
Hey, I mean, bring them if you got them.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I'm not knocking the ECS women any more than I'm knocking the men's one for TA. It's just it's just the way that the results fall sometimes. I'm really excited to see the Saturday. For those wondering home, this is the Supporters Cup, and it's going to be a good day. I think it'll be the 040s. Who won that last year? Was that ECS?
Yes.
I thought
It
that
was.
it was.
It was. They played at my alma mater in Portland, just outside of Portland, Rex Putnam High School, which
Okay.
is where I did not graduate from high school.
Last year was the first year I'd missed in like 5 years, so it's. But I've observed it over the years, and it's really good soccer. It's fun. It's a good day.
It's fun. I agree. So, Rain Thorns,
Yes.
Saturday, 1
Also-
p.m. Memorial.
Oh, is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, so there's
Oh.
a whole lot. No, but
There's
there's
just
a
a lot.
lot
There's a
going on.
lot of Portland.
So let's just talk about Saturday for a second. So Ugo would promote this were he here. So
He's probably still stuck in Woodburn.
he's never getting home. So Bada Fuerza Verde puts on this great event, La Copita, for kids, and they are playing starting at 8
Where?
Saturday morning at Starfire.
Shooting that too.
You may have heard of it.
So if you go to
I've been
Starfire on
there.
Saturday for one low price of parking,
$5 for the day.
you can watch
Unless they changed
soccer,
it.
some youth soccer,
Right.
some adult soccer, and have a really fun
Preach.
day, literally from 8 till like 9 something p.m.
Whichever, and we're doing something there too.
So SonarFeed will be broadcasting live
Starting at
probably when Mark wakes up. So it could be 3:30. It's probably going to be around midday. So
Okay.
Are you just saying this because I slept all day today?
No. We'll probably be there midway through Copita and get set up and get rolling.
Okay.
So I think it would be cool for us to be there 10, 11, and then maybe formally get the show going by noon.
Will you figure out if there's wine?
We will, yeah.
I mean, that's
We'll work on that.
basically what,
We'll get a connection.
whether I show up or not.
So La Copita is 8 teams are playing. Las Chivitas, one of my favorite names of all of them.
Say it again.
Chivitas. It's like Chivas, but like little
Chivas?
goats. Yeah. Anyway, so everything's going to be taking place on the big field. So the same place you watch S2.
Yep.
The same place you watch the Sounders play Open Cup matches
Cup,
and things like
okay.
that all day long.
Come
Oh,
out-
don't
come
forget the
out
Special
for-
Olympics. The
come out
Special
for
Olympics
a
are playing
day.
as
Yeah.
well.
Oh, really?
So
Yes.
so getting
Nice.
into that. So
I was shooting that one as well.
15 minutes after La Copita ends is the 2017 Supporters Cup. So about 12:15.
Marathon.
So men's over 40.
Make sure to hit the donate button.
It's going to be a long
Men's over 40 starts about 12:15.
hype.
Men's 2 starts at about 2:15.
Oh, please tell me Kyle's going to
After
be
that,
there for
after
the whole
that,
day.
there's a little bit of a break,
I will
and
be. It's gonna be a rough
Unified
day.
Special Olympics is going to have a match of their own after the men's 2. So you'll have La Copita. You're going to have 2 ECSFC matches. You're going to have the O40s and the men's 2. Then you're going to have the Unified Special Olympics is going to play a match there. Then that's going to be followed by the women's match, which is then followed by the men's 1 match.
So when I asked you if there's anything you wanted to talk about, I could have written up this schedule.
You could have.
That's
I have it.
crazy.
Yeah, we could have probably
It's
put
a
it on the
lot.
screen. But there's a bunch of Facebook events for ECSFC
Wow.
or for Bara that you can get if you want to track down all this
But
information.
the baseline is get there at 8 a.m.,
yeah.
stay until
Like if you got errands
pass
to hang out in the do in the afternoon, come for 2, 3, 4
Right.
hours in the morning. If you've got stuff to do later
Yes.
in the morning and you want to come out in the afternoon, it's a fun day. It genuinely is, and I don't say that just as ECS Tom. It's a fun day.
No,
It's
it
a cool
sounds
place
like
to
it's
hang
gonna be a
out.
fun day.
We all to the point where, and it doesn't get rough at all between the supporter groups because it's just sort of fun.
Right.
But like, there's literally discussions about us when there's penalties at different sides of the field, like to not have the supporters like running to the other end of the stands, and it's like super serious, but it's
Right.
fun at the same time.
Right.
It's,
And
don't
we're
forget-
going to be set up.
it's a good time.
And we're going to be set up streaming in some form or capacity.
Up at the top.
And,
Up
and
at the
don't
top.
and
So
don't
that
forget,
means we'll have just a second.
Oh, sorry.
I will let you talk.
Oh, yeah.
That means we'll have potentially multiple microphones. So swing by, say
Yes.
hi, relieve Tom from talking.
I have an
relieve-
ECS leadership meeting in the
Yes.
middle of the day,
So-
so I'm going to step out
So
for
if
that.
you've ever wanted a chance to make fun of players or call a game or do both at the same time,
or sing the Greg Mako song,
s-
even though he's not playing.
see all sorts of things you
It's
can do.
in all seriousness, we want to
Come
talk
say
to
hi.
people, and it's if you guys, kind of the same thing as we do here, sometimes in the bar, like just step up,
Right.
have a chat, talk
I'll-
some Sounders,
I'll
talk
figure
whatever.
Out a way, we'll figure out a way to have the ability to have all of that on the air.
It's going to be a good time. So
I leave all my gear there for us too, because right now we don't have a lot of games or a lot of gigs between the games. So who knows?
Thanks,
We'll see.
NWSL.
If anybody wants to do instant replay, maybe I'll set that up.
wow.
oh my god,
I'm not going to set that up.
I mean, you could. We're going to have VAR. Let's set up VAR for E ECSFC.
oh, but I thought they were just
I
like
volunteer
having
as
a Simon
tribute.
Borg wannabe, like yelling in the microphone.
Can you imagine Mark as the VAR official?
The other thing I was going
No.
to say was don't forget the fact that a lot of the front office people showed up wasted off a party bus.
It was amazing.
back to last game?
2 years ago, the Sounders FO rented a party bus and showed up. They
Addies?
made 2 poles and signs. 4
Holy
players
shit,
and
seriously?
for stuff. Oh yeah,
Yes. I
did
we
not know
actually
this.
got them to hold smoke in the section. Like I have photos of my phone
Where were
that I
you?
will use as blackmail for something.
Where were you?
What do you mean? Where was I?
No.
I was in
Where
the
was
section
the game?
here at Starfire.
Starfire.
It was.
Yeah.
And they allowed smoke.
I mean,
I mean, you
technically,
had smoke.
there
Allegedly
was
smoke.
smoke there.
Allegedly.
Thomas
there was
actually
smoke.
said too much.
Alleged smoke.
It was a non-league match, so the rules were different. But they rolled up. Max is accurate, drunk, and they sang songs. They had a good time. It was fun, and again, past performance is not indicative of future results, but we're hopeful that we'll have a fun crowd of people of all shapes and sizes and interests out on Saturday. It's a long day, and we know that there's Sounders on Sunday, or people want to go to Rain, or whatever else there is. But it's a free thing. It's something that's involved with some charitable organizations and some other groups. It's a fun day of soccer.
Mark's bored.
I don't even know what he's doing.
I'm trying to get Chase's attention, but he's too busy playing with his fucking
Hey,
phone.
you know what? We never did. We
playing
ever really
Pokemon
talk
or some
about the
shit.
goals? Did we talk about the goals? Because I have them queued up here. but
What
I never-
goals?
I never showed them.
Oh well, I'd like to bring
The
up some-
Sounders goals?
Yeah.
I'd like to bring up the Sounders
We can
goals
talk
on.
about those.
Was it dark?
Why would you say it was dark, Mark? Dark, Mark.
Dark, Mark. Wow.
Mark, why would it be dark?
I don't know.
Mark, why would it be dark?
Waiting.
No, why would it be dark?
Because there was an eclipse.
He's literally just waiting to queue up eclipses.
I got nothing else to do.
So that's just ever so often when it goes by on the live feed here and Mark sees it, he just kind of giggles. Because there's always a little bit. There it is.
It's kind of
it is.
normal to lie.
All right. So what we're talking about with goals here?
So there were goals.
We have them.
Oh,
Are we going to play
Let's
some
do
goals?
Brad's.
were they
Brad's
during
is-
the run of play?
I got nothing.
Oh, hey, look, someone fell down and Marshall scored. Oh, look, there he goes.
Yeah, so
And-
see here. Yeah. Nico took that. It wasn't a corner. It wasn't a corner.
Refresh the feed so we can see it.
It'll take a
This?
couple of seconds. There it is. It'll take, yeah.
So free kick.
Brad.
Chad head.
I was quite
Some
literally
Chad.
on the side, like I was. Well,
I
you
like
can't
his
see
leg.
me.
I like
Yeah.
Chad's.
The
Chad's
kick out,
leg,
little kick out. Yeah.
I was watching Chad, and the
Sexy.
second I saw that guy fall, I was like, goal, right there.
Oh,
I
this
was
guy,
thinking,
yes.
yes.
Yeah, you're right. I didn't even notice that.
I saw it live, and I was like, goal, and then
JJ says Nico was probably shooting. He probably was, actually. Looking back. So you got that one. Can you
Yep.
cue the other one up?
Other one is queued.
Maybe we've seen it. I mean, it's a slightly different.
he said, oh, not quite. Wait, is he gonna save it this time? Oh, not quite.
Yeah. See, honestly, again, like
Gifts are
there
the
was that-
best.
There was
really
see,
thought
and
that
he's-
last time I
he
thought he was
sees
gonna
that.
save it.
He sees that. There's that split second that I even hesitate, where you can see him.
Yep.
Like you said, he drops his shoulders and he's like, "Shit, I missed," or he got it, but then it went in.
Deuce is just so money. It is dagger. Like his goals, they're just daggers, whether in run a play or
You
not.
totally can see though, like he shows that he's going to the right.
Oh yeah, he's open.
His hips are
Yep.
so open. Yeah.
And it's fine, but at the end of the day, he might just be that confident that he's like, I got
Oh,
this.
fuck
Doesn't
that.
matter.
You know why?
I can tell you what I'm going to do.
He's
You're
Clint
still.
motherfucking Dempsey.
Yeah.
And
He
I'll-
scored a couple times.
And here's one thing that is one of my. big, okay.
I can show you my cards.
At least.
I can show you my tell because I have aces.
Tom, 4 at least.
Go ahead.
Oh,
Stop.
as far, like even as a though it's a rec league, at some point you got to say that goal is 24 feet wide. You can tell me exactly where you're placing it, and I can't get there if you
Right.
just place it. Just
Right.
place it. I mean, don't do the little stutter step. Don't do the dance. Step up and kick it in, and that's what Dempsey does.
That's like playing against Adonis. Just kick the ball.
Yeah. No comment.
All right. We
Fuck
got
you, Adonis.
Anywho.
Chirp.
any
So we have any questions from the Peanut Gallery?
audience from
Peanut
from
Gallery
our
in the house.
friends
Do you
here,
guys have
from
any questions?
Anybody watching at home? Anything we didn't cover? A wallet that you can take into the stadium.
Going into the Seahawks game, there was a lady with a purse, like full on purse, and this other guy, and he had a bag, and the security guy was trying to say, you need to go take those elsewhere because you can't get in. And they were like, no, we're fine. They wouldn't let that in. Are you kidding me?
It's a Mariners. It's a Mariners wallet clutch.
By the way,
thing.
So that's too big?
Classified as a clutch because it has the handle.
So it's too big?
I measured it. It's within the 6.5 by 4.5 measurement.
Right.
The lady at the gate gave me a hard time. Told me to put it on the paper they have.
So she was asked to measure this clutch.
No, I had measured it
I
previously.
mean, at the gate though, she was forced to measure the clutch at the gate.
And they had me put it on the laminated.
Put it on the card.
I am not convinced that the space on the card that they have is 6.5 by
That
Right,
wouldn't
right,
surprise
right.
me. You should get a small roll-up tape measure and put it in there
So-
and bring it with you.
This is smaller
Did you
than
ha-
other
nuclear
wallets I
weapons.
brought in all year.
Did you
So-
have that in a clear plastic bag?
Clear plastic bag.
And they still wouldn't
The
let it
best
in.
part about
That's-
this, with the Mariners logo and all,
Yes.
you can carry whatever the fuck you want into Safeco Field.
Literally anything.
Literally
Right.
anything. Backpack, completely black, with whatever you could possibly want in it, within reason. CenturyLink, no.
Kimmy, somebody asked, Kimmy asked, did they change the security for Clink since Hawk started? No.
They said the answer we got at the first entrance we went to was that they're starting to buckle down.
On what? On the rules that exist already?
Yeah.
Like, it's dumb.
Well, even on the press side, apparently, if they notice your laptop, which, by the way, I've just placed in my bag and I showed to them, and thankfully the person hasn't even noticed, but a couple people have said that if they see a laptop, you now have to boot it up and log in to prove that it's not
it works.
a bomb.
Yeah.
That's so stupid.
I've seen that in airports.
Let me just go ahead and blow up this laptop bomb while I'm in line with everybody.
Right, but like that would actually
I
be
mean,
worse.
let's be honest. I mean, like, where are we going to take it? Can I
My
say,
point.
hey, I'm not convinced that you're actually a security guard. I got to give you a rectal exam to make sure. I mean, where are we going with this? I mean, it's
Yeah.
silly. It's
No,
stupid.
it's yeah. I
It is security thing.
honestly, one game I'm gonna bring a gallon Ziploc bag of raw hot dogs.
Dave, is that true? Can you corroborate this?
He actually says, dude saw my golden scarf and said, I'll need to inspect your whole bag.
Oh. That makes total sense.
So,
Which
when do
bag?
we start with the rectal exams? Is that next season or is that the season
we
after?
think it might be 2020,
Okay.
but no one's sure. So we'll see. We also had yesterday an amusing event because there were multiple people in the stadium with black fuck Trump scarves.
It
Beautiful.
literally said "fuck Trump." It wasn't.
Where do I buy
But
one?
It
like-
wasn't censored out at all. It just said
in a pretty big font face,
yeah,
like
and
pretty
They
significant.
were huge. They were big, long scarves too. They were big. And yeah,
Who started the anti-racism, anti-fascism scars? Those were pretty good. I like those.
GFC.
yeah.
I liked those.
Yeah.
Those
They-
were
there
really
were a ton of them yesterday.
It was great.
Well done.
That's where
sold
we're going
they
with
sold
this
those-
story.
Yeah,
Oh.
so they actually ended up selling those for $20 a piece, and $15 of that went to the Southern Poverty Law Center.
Great.
Yeah.
So
Anyway,
there's fuck Trump scarves, and there's Adam told me earlier there was one in the section. There was another one I saw online elsewhere, and I'm down in 122 in the third or fourth row, and all of a sudden someone's like, "Hey, I need you to come over here," and they are talking to Travis Jeremiah, who has one of the
racist-
anti-fascism scarves, and they let him put it back on his belt, and they're like, "You can have this, but you can't hold it up or wave it."
Seriously?
Yeah. So I walk over and I'm like, "What's the
Anti-fascism
problem?"
scarf, you
I'm like,
can't wave it.
"You're selling these in the state. Like you're letting a group sell them at a table that's endorsed by the team in the stadium."
Isn't
and they're like,
Travis
"That's just what I'm
security?
told." No.
Oh.
So I grab the scarf, and the security guard walks away. So I turn around and I literally just stand in the aisle, face up to the concourse, and hold the scarf up.
quick question:
Yes.
how many drinks did you have by then?
Oh, I don't know. The
A
total
few.
in the day?
A few.
I actually, generally speaking, like if anything
Not as
dumb
many as
happens
Mark.
with security in the stadium, I'm just
Right.
over it immediately. I was
Yeah.
actually fine at that point. It was Temple post game
Okay.
that it was just over. So I literally am just staring at these people holding this scarf up, and it's ECS security comes down and is like, "Oh, what's going on?" And I'm like, "This is dumb. GFC's selling this scarf. There's nothing wrong with it. You can't tell people to put this down." So they wave the other guard down. He comes down and he's like, "Oh, yeah, there was just some confusion. You can do whatever you want. You just can't be in the aisle."
That was the only
And I was
concern.
like, "Oh, okay." So it sounds like they thought the black scarves were the fuck Trump scarves.
Right.
And just decided to blanket, have people who had other black scarves that said something potentially political, and have them take them down.
Right.
In the stadium. And I'm like, it says, like, stop fascism or whatever.
And then the other side says against
it's
racism,
dumb.
against fascism.
But this is where, like, again, I understand the point of what you're doing, but the way it's gone about week after week after week is just awful. Like, there's always something awkward and there's always something new. It's like,
Right.
it's like when you go to the counter and they're like, "Oh, some weeks we're allowed to give you the bottled water with no caps," and then I'm told, "No, they got rid of that at the beginning of the year." I've this year probably had it 4 or 5 times where they've taken the caps away from me. So, like, the messages are just not consistent, and as they add more and more, like, security stuff, the staff they're not full-time people.
No.
A lot of them are volunteers, like the ushers and folks like that are not necessarily getting paid to do it, especially the ones at the refreshment the counters, excuse me. It just feels like it's one thing after another, and it just changes every time. So it's never going to end.
Yeah,
What
the freshman
we're gonna-
counters are often fundraisers for like.
Do I even want to know? JJ brings his own
Yes.
caps. Oh, I've played that game before, so I'm fully aware. And I understand the point of why on that. Because if you put a cap on something, I can take a water bottle, drink some, and throw it really far
Right.
because of the weight of the water that keeps it swinging through the air. I get it. It still works without the cap, as an FYI. So it's not like you've solved the problem of me being able to wing something 20 yards onto the field.
Mark's leaving.
What's that? Yeah, sure. She just said, "I wish I was rich enough to throw away a $5.50 bottle of water."
Seriously,
well played.
though.
I agree.
Right? Like, who has that much energy? Also, we need sparkling rosé.
We need it back.
Like, it's literally nowhere in the stadium. Wait, what?
Wait, he's not here. Come here. Chase is gonna tell us stories
Hi,
about
Chase.
Mark while he's
Hey,
gone.
we're gonna call you
So
New
you're at
Mark.
the-
We call it
what
New and
concert?
Improved Mark. What would you like to say, New and Improved Mark?
And Jimmy Eat World
Oh, out at White
at
River.
White River. Mark gets the genius idea of buying a whole bottle of rosé. Which
So what you're saying was it was Mark.
I shouldn't be shocked because
Like, at all.
because he drank the whole thing himself. I think I would have been more shocked had he shared. But still, rock concert, bottle of rosé, just going for it. It was pretty awesome.
So, what's going on?
Nothing much.
Welcome home, by the way, officially on SonarFeed. You've been here for a few months
Oh,
back
yeah.
home, but welcome back.
Been back for about 2
Oh, you're that
months.
Chase.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm Max. I haven't met you. I've heard a lot about you though. Nice to meet you.
Where
It was
have I
all
been in
super, super good.
Okay, that's good.
No, it was good stuff. It was.
Okay. Yeah, so
Ish.
It's one of those moments where I place a name to the
With a
a
Twitter
face to the
handle.
name. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm at chaseface_.
Oh, is it
So-
really?
At Chase Face with the Twitter handle.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So, let's make some predictions, because we've got 2 matches.
How many points?
6 points. So we have 2 matches. We have Wednesday at Vancouver, Sunday at home versus Portland. What do you got?
I'll be at
Adam.
one of those games.
What's your prediction?
I predict that I will be at one of those games. I predict that we will also win both of those games.
You predict a riot? You predict an eclipse?
I think I don't know much about Vancouver. I think Portland's going to be tough, though. I think it's.
You've been
gonna
replaced,
be
Mark.
similar. I think it's going to be similar to what we just saw.
Okay.
I wouldn't
So you're
be
saying
surprised
2-1.
with- I wouldn't be surprised with 2-1.
2-1 twice?
I'm going to say 2-1 at Portland. I'm going to say I don't know Vancouver. I honestly don't.
So there will be a result against Vancouver, is what you're saying.
I think we'll win Vancouver, but I don't.
But, like, something will happen,
Yeah.
and
Something good,
the Sounders will play at least 90 minutes, is what you're saying.
potentially.
Okay.
If there isn't a horrible eclipse.
Okay. Max.
We'll beat Portland at home. We generally beat them at home. It's very rare that we don't. We haven't lost them at home with the exception of the playoffs. That 1 year, everything else has been either a win or a draw. So I got the win at home. I'm going to say loss on the road at Vancouver. It's going to happen.
Loss.
A loss has been overdue for a while.
Microphones.
The
Microphone's muted.
Oh. Hey, we're looking for predictions. Not. Oh, do you want me, oh, sorry. I'm supposed to be a fanboy. All right, guys. I've got a triple win, so we're going to get 9 points in 2 games. No, seriously.
Easy.
It's going to come to an end sometime. I'd rather it happen on Wednesday away at Vancouver than at home against Portland. I think we're going to beat Portland at home. I think we will get the win because it'll be a scrappy win, 2-1, 3-1 at home.
Chase.
I want to say 2-1 for both, but I think we'll draw on Wednesday. I'm not going to throw out a prediction for goals on Wednesday for the draw, but we're drawing on Wednesday, 2-1 at home on Sunday.
Gotta watch out for the eclipse. Okay. All right. I'm going to say 1-1 Wednesday. I think it's hard to win away anywhere.
Yeah.
Again, toss out the records and whatnot when you're playing a team like Vancouver. And I would say 2-1 on Sunday.
Okay.
2-1 on Sunday. 2 goals from run of play.
Ooh.
How's that?
That's very specific.
Yeah, it's very specific.
Very specific.
Freddie Montero has like really adult hair right now.
What?
Yeah, he
haven't
looks
seen
like a
it for a
grown up.
while.
I got to
It's
see
weird.
this. I know that it wasn't realistic, but I did want him back with us just because I would be home. But I get it. I get it. Just how it is.
Bregel points out that 43% Vancouver, 31% Seattle, 26% tie.
That's from
Or
538.
or draw, as is the parlance
Right.
in the fixture. Oh, there's another one of those moon things.
Damn. They're all over
It's
the
happening
place.
again. All right, cool. So we got some predictions. Anything else we need to talk about before we head out? Thank you, everybody in the club, for showing out. Thank you, everybody online, for showing out. We will see you all Saturday for
Can I give one
so many
last
hours.
shout out? I
Yes,
appreciate-
okay.
all day.
And I don't get on here very often, so I don't get a chance to say these things. But there's one person that really made me smile this last weekend, and it's when we did Get to Know Your Neighbor. When I say we, ECS, even though I haven't been in ECS since the last time I was there for a friendly, which makes me sad. But I'm on the field. That's what happens.
It's because you're super
I'll trade
famous.
you places.
What's that?
I'll trade you places.
Fair
for a
enough.
match.
Chase
You know
takes
what?
super good photos.
You know what?
I try.
I wish that, you know what, we can talk. We'll see what happens. But what I will say is that during Get to Know Your Neighbor, I saw one really, really bright yellow spot going back and forth with these. He wasn't bouncing up and down, but he was going back and forth. One of the beer vendors crunched in tight with everybody
Really?
and was going back and forth with the ECS on Get to Know Your
That's
Neighbor.
fantastic.
And I was like, that is awesome.
That's a good time.
Yeah.
Pogo was fun yesterday. I agree.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a good time. So Saturday all day, La Copita at 8, Supporters Cup at 12:15, Rain at 1, Sounders Sunday at 6. Is that what we're doing? 6 o'clock,
I don't
6:30, something like that.
Something like that.
Just show
An
up
evening.
downtown
By the way,
around
it is
noon.
supposed to be 80 degrees at Kick on Sunday.
And if anyone cares, which they don't, Mayweather and McGregor are having their little farce on Saturday
Oh, that's
night,
right.
too.
That's at 8 or
Wait,
something,
it's
right?
actually happening?
Yeah, 8
Well,
p.m.
kind
ish.
of. I mean, Connor's going to punch himself out, and then that's it.
Wow.
I know, right?
So-
Cool prediction. Magic.
Thank you all for coming. Thank you, Adam and Max.
Thank you for having me.
And
This was fun.
Chase for showing up at the last minute and making a prediction.
Cameo.
Cool.
All right.
Would you say this episode eclipsed all of the other episodes?
I wasn't ready for that one. I had something else queued up.
Wait,
yes.
there
it is.
What's the Death Star? Please tell me it was the Death Star.
It's not.
Oh, that would have been a funny eclipse. That's no move.
Thank you all for watching, hanging out, and so on. Have a good night.
Can I hear the loon again, too? I want to hear the loony loon! The funny, funny loon! Ah, oh! Oh! What the hell is this?